guys. I'm joined here with Justin Goff, and Justin and I don't necessarily know each other. I started following him on Facebook. It's probably been a month or so ago now. I saw where somebody shared something where he was training for a marathon, and or not marathon, but a triathlon, and I was in the process of last month running a marathon. I'm like, I want to know this guy. Like, I want to be friends with this guy. And lo and behold, last week, my wife and I went to a homeschooling one-on-one meeting, and he and his wife are on the board. And so we talked there, and now here we are. And like, this dude is into fitness, fatherhood, relationships. And I'm like, we gotta talk to this guy because he knows what's going on. And I think we can all learn a lot from him. So Justin, here we are.
Okay. I don't know what we're going to do. What do you want to do?
Let's talk about, so week one, we talked about, small groups of men, accountability, stuff like that. Week two, here in August, we're talking about marriage relationships. And so I know that family is very important with you, and being a father of, a lot of kids, a dozen, I don't know how many, there's a bunch of them, but I know that fatherhood is important to you. So I wanted to talk about like relationships with kids and, marriage. We can dive into anything because I think that you've got a lot of valuable information you can help us with. So
Yeah. So we have 6 kids, 7 on the way. It should be 7 next month. So right now we have 5 boys, 1 daughter, and then the one due next month is a daughter. So we should have 5 boys and then 2 daughters.
Nice. How did you guys wind up on 7? Like, are you done after that? Is there more?
I'll keep you posted. I don't know. Who knows?
That's awesome.
If you're going to be outside the box, you might as well be way outside the box.
That's
don't give anybody reason to doubt. That's
great.
We'll see what happens.
My wife said the other day, there's a meme or something going around like when you can be anything in the world, be kind. And she said, no, I want for my kids to be different. So like in a world where you can be anything, I want my family to be different. I'm like, I can dig that,
Yeah, we're definitely different. So we don't fit the mold, the typical mold in any area. So
that's awesome.
Which is fine with us. But yeah, family is really important to me, and I know it's important to a lot of the guys that will be listening to this, a lot of the guys that are in the group. For me, I didn't grow up with a typical family, which is, I had a dad, obviously, and a mom. They were divorced when I was young, and I guess I made a decision at a young age that I want to be a good father. I don't know why. That was always been a desire of mine. Like, I want to be a good father. I want to be a good husband. And I wasn't even a Christian when I made this decision. I mean,
really? Oh, that's awesome.
No, for a long time, I've always wanted to be a good father, a good husband. Am I? I don't know. I'm learning.
Yeah.
Like the rest of us, we fall down and we get back up and keep moving forward. But I think the days that we're living in right now, people are starving for a good example in light of being a husband, a good husband. And I think that people are starving for an example of what fatherhood really looks like. Fatherhood's under attack. Fatherhood, and that's just the fathers that are in the game. I think that a lot of the fathers aren't even in the game. Over 20 million kids tonight in the United States go to bed with no father in the home.
20 million.
20 million. Over 20 million. Man. I think that was last year's statistics. That's a problem.
It's a huge problem. How do we get more guys to, wrap it up or be there for their kids, Like,
well, the thing is that I think we have to bring awareness to the issues. That's one thing, is awareness. So we have to bring awareness to the issues of fatherhood. And I'm probably going to talk mainly about fatherhood.
Yeah.
We can talk about whatever. We can talk about being a good husband too, if you want. But fatherhood's been the burden on my heart lately. Man, I got a fire inside of me right now about fatherhood, and we got to get with the program. I figure there's three different types of fathers. There's absent fathers,
Hold on a second. Everybody that's listening should take notes. I'm taking notes on this.
and these are just thoughts that I have when I'm working throughout the day or running. I'm just sharing some of my thoughts and some of the things I've been thinking about lately with you. That's all.
Yep.
So, you're like, well, I don't know that your statistics are accurate. Well, maybe they're not. But anyway, you'll get the idea of what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
for sure.
You know, so the way I've been thinking about this, there's three types of fathers. There's absent fathers who are not in the picture. Then there's fathers who aren't present, meaning they might be in the home, but they're not. They're too busy too busy on their phone, too busy on. We'll talk about the phone here in a minute. I'm going to light some of the guys here on fire here.
Yes, sir. I love it.
So you got absent fathers, you got fathers who aren't present. So they're just too busy with themselves. They're too busy. They're kind of indifferent when it comes to their kids. Yeah, go do whatever you want to do. And then there's shepherds. The third type of father is a shepherd. So I think one of the things we need to do is we need to kind of determine where are we at in there. And sometimes maybe we have to look back at how we were raised. Were we raised by a shepherd? Were we raised by someone who wasn't present, or was our father absent?
Mm-hmm.
My dad was somewhere between absent and not present.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I grew up with. I didn't grow up with a shepherd. I wish I would have, but I didn't. And that's just my experience. And I just learned from that and use it to help me be a better dad now. So I think those three things are important to look at and kind of figure out, where are you? Maybe some of the dads that listen to this maybe they're absent. And I'll just share right now some statistics with you. I'm not going to give exact numbers, but you can look on. There's so many different websites and information on father absence. Father absence is one of the biggest issues we have in America. It costs the father absence costs the taxpayers in the United States $100 billion a year.
Wow.
100 billion. You just go to fatherhood.org, fatherhood.org, and you can find some incredible, very shocking, very sad statistics.
Now, what falls into that 100 billion? Is it like the food stamps and stuff like that?
I think it's everything combined.
Is it?
So you have, when a father is not in a child's life, all the bad statistics go through the roof. Chances of jail, chances of drug use, chances of suicide, all these. It's amazing the responsibility we as men have, and we need to take responsibility. It's time.
And do you think too that because of the way that a lot of these guys are raised, I think we're all longing for the shepherd father. We all want that, and do you think that some of these guys, so you knew at a young age, I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good father. And I feel like I was in the same position. I always knew I wanted to have kids and I wanted to be a great father. But do you think that it makes you want that more because maybe you didn't have that? But also some of these guys that don't have this can't get out, they can't wrap their heads around maybe something else, and that's what they're stuck in. They're stuck in that rut.
Yeah.
They need that kick.
Yeah, definitely. We're all a product of our education or our upbringing to some extent, right? We all have to deal with that. But when I became a man, I put away the excuses. I put away the blaming of my parents or my dad or whatever. And at some point, we as men need to accept responsibility. I've got 6 kids, almost 7. I have a major responsibility that I'm responsible for, no one else. And so I think to some level, we have to come to grips with what our responsibilities are, and we have to accept that responsibility. The other thing is find somebody. There are good fathers and husbands out there. Ask them, call them on the phone.
Yeah.
Hey, can I take you out to lunch? Teach me, show me how do I be a good husband? How do I be a good father?
Yeah.
I mean, reach out to somebody, someone who's better than you. I do this in every area of life.
Agreed 100%. But do you feel like, and this is just my thoughts here, do you feel like some guys can't, is it an ego thing that they don't want to ask another man for help? Or, because too, like we were saying, I agree 100% that we have to let go of the past because we have to own it. It's our lives. I've got 3 kids. I'm the guy that it took me a little bit longer to get my head out of the sand and be like, I need to be there. And personally for me, I lived with a story for 35 years of my life that was stuck in my brain. I believed that story. And so finally, 18 months ago, 16 months, whatever it was, I'm like, I don't have to live with that story anymore. Like, it's time to become a real man and get over it. So, some of us are slow learners, but I got there.
Yeah, I was a slow learner for sure. So I didn't have my first child until I was 29. So because I had a lot of growing up to do. So if I would have had children earlier, it would have been a disaster. But yeah, I think it could be ego. It could be ego. It could be fear. Fear of not fear of messing up, fear of, and here's the thing about being a parent, you're going to mess up. I've messed up today. My kids aren't in bed. I'll probably mess up again before they go to sleep. I mean, you just have to get back up and keep moving forward. Keep showing up. Show up. And it's time that men show up. We have such awful statistics for the children of this generation right now. And a lot of it goes back to fatherhood. I think we have such a responsibility to start showing up for our children and for our wives, but for the sake of this conversation, for our children, for sure.
Definitely. I want to get in. I want to hear what you have to say about these cell phones.
Oh, well, there are several different things. We're talking about fathers, and let me just touch on one thing real quick, and I'll circle back around to the cell phone, because right now, one of the big issues, or something that's getting a lot of awareness right now, is child trafficking. And that's something that, and that's something we should all be passionate about. We should all be doing something with that, to whatever degree you can. The light has been is shining on it right now, brighter than ever, and it's a bigger issue than I think we have realized. So father absence is one of the biggest targets. That's one of the kids that are trafficked. You go back and you look at, they're either father absence or fathers aren't present. So then the kids get on the cell phone, and then so it's a real problem. And like I said, dads need to show up. So that's one of the things that trafficker will look for is fatherlessness.
And it makes complete sense.
It's like I told my kids. They said, "Do you think we'll be trafficked?" I said, "No." I said, "Why not?" I said, "Because they're not coming here. One, I've trained you guys. 2, you know how to shoot. So if they come here, they're getting shot."
Yeah.
It's kind of like a wolf or a coyote is not going to mess with a flock of sheep with a shepherd there, because the shepherd's going to hit him in the head with the staff,
Yeah.
right? So these people want soft targets. They look for soft targets, and the biggest thing that people would look for would be fatherlessness.
And like you said too, those children, those boys and girls, they're longing for that father figure. So these guys come in and they're there for them, and it's almost too easy.
Yeah, it's a real shame. So we have trafficking as an issue. We all agree, I would think, surely, that it's wrong, it's evil. But the thing that we can do, though, as fathers, we can save our children, or maybe even children in our community or our family members from it, because one, we're aware, and two, we're going to start showing up.
Yes.
And paying attention and being present, not just paying bills, but being present, teaching our children, walking alongside of them, asking them questions, living life with them. But as far as the cell phone goes, if you look at statistics, we got to put the phones down. Just put it down and spend real time with real people, especially the people in our household. And, and some guys that are on this won't be real popular. Some guys need to turn the pornography off.
Oh, dude. I don't know if you know much of my story, but that's whenever I addressed my issues, was because from a very, very young age, it was in my life, and
sure,
didn't even understand that it was wrong.
Yeah.
Until I went to God numerous times for how many years and said, please stop. I don't want to be this monster that's living two separate lives for the most part. And so, yeah, you can't be more accurate with that.
Well, and I didn't know that about you, but I know about me, and I know what's been overcome in my life. And I have so many friends that are overcoming and have overcome pornography by God's grace.
For sure.
The problem is, it's all connected. All this is everything we've just talked about: fatherhood, marriage, children, absence, child trafficking, pornography. It's all connected. Why do we have child traffickers and child rape? Because we have child pornography.
Yes.
It's a progression. And so the problem thing is men, is we have to do, yes, we have a responsibility to go out and do something about child trafficking, and we should. At the same time, what feeds that industry?
Yes.
It's men. I'm not pointing like I'm feeding it, but it's men who are addicted to pornography.
Yes.
And some people say, well, I watch pornography, but I would never watch that. It's a slippery slope.
Slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope. So you can't, we have to, as men, we need to step up. We need to show up, lead our families. But we also need to repent in the areas, especially pornography, because it's ruining our testimony. It's ruining our church. It's ruining our families. It's just a real problem. It's ruining some husbands' ability to even perform sexually with their wife. Yep. It's a real mental, there's a lot to it. And I think, child trafficking is the symptom. That's not even the root problem. The root goes back to the individual men. And we need to call men out of their sin, and we need to call them to God, call them to repent and take care of their home.
And hearing that, it's so true. And it's so, for a long, long time, whenever I had finally addressed this issue, and I told my wife, I said, this isn't now, at this point now, it's not about me doing this for you. It's not about me doing this for my kids. It's about me doing this for my relationship with God and myself to become better. And then I can be that for you. So, and when I did that, it's hard to talk about that. And so so I prayed for a long, long, long time for God just to lead me. Let me share whatever I can because I know that other guys struggle with this. Because I'm kind of an open book, Justin. I'm willing to share anything. And so one day it just popped in my head, StructureYou, like start a Facebook group. And so, even since we've started this, there's been a lot of guys. So it's going to be uncomfortable for a lot of guys. And I feel like that's good because we have to.
As men, we need to start talking about real issues. Like if we are going to be successful, quite honestly, the soul of this country is at a crossroads.
Yeah.
It's at a crossroads. We're talking about, there's certain groups of people that, and I'm just going to say, but there's certain groups of people that want to make pedophilia, sex with a minor, a sexual preference. Like it's just my preference.
And you're ruining these kids' lives.
We're dealing with some serious sick stuff right now, and we have got, as men, to start talking about real issues. We need to quit. I mean, not that work's not important. It is important. But a lot of times guys will talk about sports, will talk about work.
Everything's surface level,
We need to, I don't know what the statistics are, Google it. It's crazy, but I do remember they used to do, it was a Christian men's huge conference. I don't remember. Promise Keepers. It's called Promise Keepers. And a friend of mine was at one, and it was a stadium full, and they asked how many guys struggle with pornography, and it was like half of the stadium. It's a problem.
And the other half just didn't want to raise their hands.
Probably right. So it's a real issue, and if we're going to be successful as men, we need to talk about real issues. We need to talk about real fears. We need to talk about real dangers. We need to talk about these things and not be afraid. I'm not afraid to talk about any of them. Like I'm as open, like my wife sometimes thinks I'm too open, I think, but I'll let you know what I think. And because we have to start talking about communicating these things.
Yep. And for this situation too, I feel like a lot of guys are in denial that it's not a problem. But like you said, so I've got a buddy that have been open to this about, and I think he's 42, but he said, I've always struggled with this, Mike. I'm 42 and I have to take a pill to perform with my wife. Yep. And I was like, I don't want that to be me, man. So I'm done.
Pornography affects the brain.
Yeah.
Like our bodies, our souls, our minds work best when we're pursuing holiness. When you start going down in the ditch, and you start going towards pornography and that stuff, it does something to the brain. There's studies on that. You can Google it. I can get you more information, but it does affect the brain. It's almost like a drug.
Yep.
And then,
yeah, for sure.
And then that's not good enough. So now I got to watch this. Well, then that's not good enough. Now I got to watch this. And then I got to watch. And then all of a sudden, who knows where that will lead.
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope. And so again, like I said, we have to address child trafficking. We also have to address what's feeding that. And that's men's lust. That's pornography.
Yeah. And it all, not that it all starts on the cell phone, but cell phones and computers, it doesn't take but 2 seconds to find whatever you're looking for,
Yeah. I mean, even the cell phone and all this stuff in the social media, it's a great tool. I use it a lot in our business. We're in network marketing. It's a free tool. Why wouldn't you use it?
Yeah.
However, when it starts using you, it's time to back off, and it's time to back off. And we need to think of life after Facebook too, because there's a hashtag, Save the Children, which is a child trafficking awareness hashtag. And Facebook started getting rid of them, censoring that hashtag yesterday.
No kidding.
After they had a big outrage, they brought it back on, but they tested the waters. Now think about that. That's insane. So we really, men are going to have to, we are going to have to step up and pay attention.
Man. And the thing is too, Justin, is that most men, we're so consumed with our own everyday lives that we don't think about these other things, and I'm guilty of that. I'm thinking of my immediate family and not enough towards these other kids. In my back of my head, I might be like, man, I need to do something, but I haven't been taking action.
Well, I think one thing, this is a danger too. Let's talk about this as far as men go. A lot of times we'll see something like, let's say, child trafficking, just because that's big and in our face right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we like to do stuff as men. We like to fix stuff, right? That's just how we're wired, So we might see something like that. Okay, I'm going to go help fix that, because then I can be doing something. Yet our marriage is struggling. Our own personal lust, our own pornography issue, whatever the issue is, our marriage, our children, hasn't been addressed. So I think one of the things we need to do first is we need to fix ourselves, or have God fix us. That's the best way. Save you a lot of time.
Yes.
And, so we need to make sure that we're right, make sure our home is right and intact, starting with our marriage, then our children, and then reach out. We got to fix ourselves and our home team first. And then we'll have the proper grounds to minister outside the walls of our home.
Exactly.
But that takes humility.
Oh.
Got to get low, man. You got to get humble and admit some things like, man, I'm struggling here, or I don't know how to do this, or whatever. But you know what? We're all in the same boat.
All in the same boat. And once you admit to some of these struggles, whatever it is, even if it's pornography, it's alcoholism.
Yeah.
I mean, once you admit it, like they say, well, that's half the battle, but it's true. Like, do you know how much humility I've had to endure to tell my wife I struggle with this? And it's, and even like now in this group, there's 600 dudes, and half of them talk to their friends and say, do you know this guy who's addicted to this? And they're like, yeah, but these other guys don't want to admit it. But I'm hoping that here, talking to guys like you and me admitting it, like it's helping other guys to it's okay. We can get through this, because I thought for a long time it was just normal. Like what I was doing, not that I was into pedophilia or anything like that, but if my wife said, Mike, I don't want to have sex tonight, well, that's okay. I can go take care of it. Didn't think it was anything wrong. I just thought that was a normal part of life, because it's everywhere. Yeah. And then once I dug into my relationship with God, I was like, ooh, this isn't good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, it's true. And you said there's 600 guys in this group. I mean, statistically, half of, probably half are viewing pornography.
Yep.
And maybe not of this specific group, but if you just go off like some statistics, I mean, a bunch.
Yep.
But the thing is, we always think that we always like to suffer in silence. I don't know why that is. And most people
don't know.
And, and just that these are real issues that real men deal with, and we need to fight. We need to fight together. We need to fight for one another, encourage one another.
For sure.
Because, man, our families need us to be strong. They need us to be holy. They need us to be pure. And it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it.
And like you mentioned, on the half these, the parents that aren't present, or the fathers that aren't present, So even for me with social media, so during that time frame last year, whenever I was just praying, God, lead me where you want me. So I was off social media for about 11 months completely. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm going to focus on myself, my family, and these things, because you and I both know the things that are most important to us are under our own roof. We have other things, obviously, but when I got back to that and realized, I'm going to be the present husband, and the present father, and now my wife will tell you, our marriage is better now than it has been in the 7 years combined, And so but it's one of those things. It's like you said, it's a great tool to use, but it can take a hold of you pretty quick.
What starts using you? If you're a dad, let's just be practical. You're on the phone, and maybe it's not anything bad. Maybe you're just scrolling Facebook. But when your kid or your son, let's say, comes up to you for the third time, Daddy, let's do this. Pay attention to that. We have 7 kids. My oldest is 14, about to turn 15. And I don't know where everybody's at in this group. It's a mixed bag, I'm sure. But, man, those 15 years have gone fast. And, thankfully, when he was little, we didn't even have cell phones. We had a cell phone, but there was no smartphone, or whatever. So I feel like I was a little bit advantaged, over some maybe of you younger guys, because I just didn't. The only time I used it or would text is if I was hunting.
Yeah.
If someone needed something or whatever. Other than that, I just didn't even mess with them. And so it's something we're going to have to. You're not just going to wander into success, though, in the area of being a husband, father, purity, business, physical health, whatever. You're not going to wander into success. You're going to have to do things on purpose.
Yes.
And I think that's important that we know that.
Definitely. And, being, like I said, being present, and also if you're focused on, and I think, I don't know if you ever heard this for me, but with even this year, so my health was never a priority, but even this year I focused on my relationship with God, my wife, my family, and then health and fitness. And then my business is 5th on the list this year. And I'm like, I've got to get my health right, or else nothing else will even matter. You know what I mean? So I had to make it a priority. And now I'm literally the fittest. I ran a mile yesterday in 5 minutes and 30 seconds.
Nice.
I haven't done that since I ran one in high school at 5:28. So I'm like, at 36, I'm doing all right.
That's pretty good.
I'm pretty happy. But just owning it, and whatever you're going to focus on, then do it. Because as well as I do, if we focus on anything, we can accomplish whatever we want.
I agree. I absolutely agree with that. Yeah.
But it took me a while to get there. But also, time's going to go by, so focus on something good instead of the negative.
That's right. The thing is you have to make progress. Are you making progress or not? And a little bit of progress is still progress. So I think, we have to be going in the right direction. And for the guys that are on here, find someone, or, maybe it's this group, but find someone to run with.
Yes. And use it as a resource.
Yeah. Business-wise and spiritually and for family, I have guys in my life who are a stage or 2 or 3 ahead of me, and I bounce stuff off of them because they know I don't know.
Yep. And that falls into the relationship category that we're talking about this month. You want those relationships, mentors, if you will, and that you can always help you, and then you're also helping other people.
You have to have those. A lot of times we want to be the John Wayne or the Rambo. That's stupid.
Yes.
Guys, that's dumb.
So dumb.
Our guys who have succeeded before you in light of marriage, in light of being a father, in light of business, in light of physical health, all those things, spiritual health, mental health. There are guys who have done it well before we ever got here. Reach out, find them. And business-wise, this would be a good example. Probably 6 months ago, I got connected with a guy who will be a billionaire. He's in the same industry I'm in network marketing. He's made $330 million in network marketing. Mm-hmm. I didn't know him. I had two conversations with him, and then I called him. I said, hey, if I fly out to Scottsdale, Arizona and buy you supper, can I bring a pen and paper and just ask you questions? He said, yeah. this is on a Sunday. He said, when you coming? I said, I'll be there Wednesday night. He said, perfect. I went, I sat down. I still have all the notes in my closet here in my office. He spent 6.5 hours with me, and he bought my lunch or my supper, which is nice. And I just asked questions, and I just soaked it up. And I'm like, why are you doing this? He said, because you called and asked.
Dude, that's awesome.
It was awesome. It was a life-changing experience for many reasons. He said, because most people just call him and want money.
Yeah.
I didn't want anything from him. I just wanted to learn. And he said, I want to pass on to you what my mentor passed on to me.
Dude, that's
incredible. We have a great relationship, and who knows where it'll go, from here. But that's what we have to do in these areas of life, guys. We have to find someone who's succeeding in that one area that maybe you're not, or that you want to get better in, and seek them out.
That's dude. It's awesome. I love that story because I'll be completely honest. I didn't know you, and I was very intimidated by you. Even when I met you today, I'm like, I'm intimidated by this guy, and you know as well as I do. We're just guys, but still, like this guy, like he's awesome. Like, and I know that I can learn so much from him, and I was intimidated. I told my wife, when I come out, I was like, I'm nervous.
No, you know what? We're all learning. We're all in this together, and so the thing is, we have to spend time with one another. We just have to get honest with each other, and have real conversations, and not be afraid. Leave all that. Leave all that. I don't even know the right word. I guess macho. Leave all that stuff at the door. That ain't no good.
No, it's not, because that's not real. The ego, the guys trying to be real men. Like I feel like real men is having conversations like this about problems and how are we going to solve these issues, not only with ourselves, but bigger issues.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to see a picture of what I would say is the perfect human male, I mean, you're going to say Jesus, yeah, but he was part God also. So that I would say I'll give him he gets the crown. But the second from him down would be King David in the Old Testament. So King David was a dancer, he was a poet, he was a singer, he was a musician. He also cut the head off of a giant. He killed a lion. He killed a bear. I mean, this is like a picture of true masculinity. He also failed, and he failed his family. And he also got back up and repented and kept moving forward and finished the race well. So, in my opinion, that's the perfect picture of human masculinity right there. And there is a time where we have to be tough. And a lot of guys today in these day and age need to toughen up. But there's a lot of guys that also need to open up and get in touch with their emotions a little bit. Don't be so hard or so closed off that you can't even feel things anymore. That's not healthy either.
Yeah, and society teaches us. I feel like society teaches us men to have that hard exterior. Don't show emotion. I'll be honest. I was in the shower, so I take cold showers every morning. I started calling them my gratitude showers, because when it's cold there, you can't really focus on anything. So I started focusing on everything I'm grateful for. And this morning, I told my wife, "Oh my God, I was crying. Like, I'm just being in touch with your feelings." Yeah, you can say it's not manly. But dude, being able to go through all the emotions is a good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, God gave us those emotions for a reason.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we shouldn't be ruled by them. But this whole idea of men don't cry, all this stuff. Well, Jesus did.
Yeah.
And he defeated death. So, I mean, he's pretty tough.
Yes.
So, I mean, if anybody was macho, it's the guy who defeated death itself. And so it's like, I think the problem is when we harden ourselves that much where we can't feel something or we're not in touch with our emotions, isn't really us. is that we kind of short circuit the people that are around us,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
we can't have true relationships with them because we're too closed. We're too closed off because we don't want to feel anything. We don't want to be exposed. So we harden up, man, I'm tough and I ran today. And yeah, well, you just crushed your daughter too.
Yep. Yep.
Like, because you can't even feel anything anymore. So I think it's something we have to be careful of. We do need to toughen up, but we also need to open up.
And you
It's an issue.
talking about crushing your daughter, you got to think too, as a circling back around to the fatherhood part of this, whenever, like as a father, whenever I mess up, it's never easy even to go into my kid's room and be like, hey, I'm sorry, but daddy messed up, Can you
Yeah.
forgive me? Whatever, no matter what it is. The other day, I just scared my daughter and she started crying. I'm like, and she took off running. And I was like, what's going on? My wife's like, I think you just scared her. Now she's crying.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. So I went in there. I'm like, did I scare you? And like, so we had a conversation. She's like, yeah. And it made her have feelings of something that, and I don't remember what it was now, like getting stung by a bee or something, because I made a noise. And I was like, it's nice to have these conversations with a 7-year-old and understand kind of what she's even thinking,
Yeah.
But it's hard as a man to apologize for that.
Yeah, well, but you're open. You're
Yeah.
not closed off to feel, and I think that's important. And I think that there's a time to teach our kids to do tough stuff and all that stuff, but it's also um, we need just to be emotionally aware. That's something that I have had to really work on. Thankfully, my wife has helped me. I have spent 12 years affiliated in or around the military. I spent another 14 years in road construction. So both areas, like, you don't cry. It's tough. You have to be tough. You have all these things.
That's tough man stuff there.
Which again, there's time for all that.
Yeah.
We have to be tough, but we have to learn to also be open. And the thing is that when my daughter was young, she'll be 12 tomorrow, actually. So that's really awesome. But when she was young, with the boys, I could punch the boys in the arm and they're cool with it, right? They're like, hey, that's awesome. Hey, Dad, can I punch you in the arm? I'm like, yeah, let's do it, So with her, though, I've had to learn it's just different. And one day I was in a good mood. I came by, slapped her on the back. Hey, what's going on? Just to, whatever.
Yeah.
She looked at me and she's like, and just melt down. I'm like, what's her problem?
Yeah.
My wife's like, you can't, that doesn't work. So then she was in her bed crying, and so I went in there, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. But I didn't even know I did anything wrong until my wife showed me. So then we made up, and this is serious. So so we're buddies again, and then I spin to get off of the bed, and I end up kicking her in the head. and then of course, then she starts crying. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am not.
That's great. That's great.
Like, how do you? You just learn as you go, and you fall down, and you get back up, and you keep moving forward. I think that's the key.
Progress over perfection. That's been like my motto ever since I started this whole, because my Christian walk is not, so I was baptized when I was like 15, and then my wife got baptized when she was 30. So I did it again thinking, okay, now I'm on the right track. But like I said, it's kind of a slow learner, but here we are now in progress over perfection, one day at a time and 1% better each day,
But you're learning, and that's the main thing. We have to keep learning, and again, we need to seek that out. You're not going to figure all this stuff out on your own. At least I haven't. I've had tons of mentors. Lots of guys have asked lots of questions, and I think that's helped me. Any success that I've had up to this point in any area of life, I can point to a mentor that's helped. It's a key to success.
And I think that you and I could agree that God places people in our lives at certain times for certain reasons. And it's crazy because I'm like, well, this guy, why, why now and why this guy? Because even going through all those the trials, tribulations I went through for a while, like God was still placing people there in my life.
Right.
I wasn't accepting it. Or I didn't know at the time. I feel like those guys were planting seeds, and I'm like, now I get it. Now I get it.
Well, hindsight's always clearer, for sure. But again, we buy up the opportunities we have now with guys, especially older men, or even men that are your age that are doing well in a certain area. I think reach out to them, ask them what they're doing.
Yep, very true. And like you said, we're in the trenches together. Guys want to help. We want to help each other. We're built for that. We want to help. So
yeah, we're fixers. We want to fix stuff. So get low and.
So any more words of advice on this fatherhood? We've been on here for a while. So last words of wisdom. You got anything for us? Anything good? And where can people reach you at? Facebook would be the best way to get a hold of you.
Yeah, Facebook would be fine. It's just Justin Goff on Facebook. I think there's a picture of me on my profile picture with my beautiful wife kissing me on the cheek, maybe. Words. Here's the thing. I don't know where you're at. So some of you guys maybe don't even have kids yet. Some of you may have grown kids, and maybe you've bombed your relationship with them. I don't know. I don't know who's on here.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you need to begin today. Like, start now. And, you probably know some areas you can start in. Sure. And it might be saying you're sorry. It might not be. It might just be turning off the TV. It might be turning off your phone. But whatever it is, pray that God would show you. Because we only have so much time on this planet. And we only have so much time to invest in our children. So begin today. That would be, even if you don't know where to begin, be open to beginning.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm open. God, I'm open. I don't even know what to do, but I'm open to beginning today, being the father that I want to be. I don't even know what that means. That's a great start, guys.
Great start. I love that.
That's a perfect start. Actually, so I guess my biggest thing would be begin today.
Yep, that's awesome.
Another thing, real quick, just to add to that, what's some things you could begin with? One would be to pray. Ask God to show you. He's a master at revealing things. Even things you don't want revealed. He can reveal it all. And he will. Ask him to show you what areas you need to clean up as a father and as a husband. Yeah. The other thing is ask your wife. We're talking about being open. We're talking about being a real man. Ask her, hey, I want to be a good husband and I want to be a good father. What's some areas that you see in my life that I need to change?
I love that. That's a great point.
Warning, let her answer the question and don't get mad when she's honest.
Yeah.
Because if you've crushed her in the past, she may not even answer that question this time, which tells me that you have work to do. Yep. Another thing would be, so ask God to show you, ask your wife to show you, and then ask your kids. One of the hardest conversations I ever had, I asked my kids, I said, well, if you could change anything about me, what would it be? Ooh. And I expected them to say, oh, you're perfect, Daddy, you're the best dad ever, and all this. It was one of the hardest conversations I ever had in my life because they were brutally honest.
Really? That's hard.
It was very hard, but it changed things.
I bet.
It changed things. So that would be, just start today, be open to change, ask God, ask your wife, ask your kids what areas they think that you need to change. and be humble enough to receive whatever they show you.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of people counting on us, and it's our responsibility to do this thing right.
That's awesome. Well, Justin, I appreciate you taking time to talk to us. I know that I got a lot out of this. I'm sure other people did as well. So
Perfect.
Thanks again, Justin.
Hey, you bet. See you guys.